Hi everybody, it's time for the weeklies from June 1st to June 15th. Just want to tell you that the Facebook contest will be announced tomorrow, the winners for May. However, the contest will continue, so please, if you haven't joined Facebook pages, just do, and every comment, every share, everything is like earning you one entry toward the contest that will be for June. So it will be 3 extra readings of 20 minutes, so join in. Another thing this month is your Ex Coming Back series is coming out shortly in about a week. So if you want to get a reading, this is still on a special for $50 instead of $60. So contact me for your personal reading. So let's jump in and see your weekly readings. Hi Virgo, welcome to your bi-weeklies. So let's see what is period from June 1st to June 15 bringing for you. Okay, Virgo, June 1st to June 15. Virgos, June 1st to June 15. Okay, Virgos, from June 1st to June 15. Okay, Virgos, June 1st to June 15. Nine of Wands, Two of Cups reversed, Ten of Swords, Five of Swords, Lovers reversed, ouch, Six of Cups reversed, Ten of Cups, the Death reversed, Star reversed, and Nine of Swords reversed. Wow. You have Nine of Swords, you have Ten of Swords, and you have Five of Swords. Generally, like, all these bad swords are picked up, talking about anxiety, talking about you know, not listening to your own instincts. And this is from the past, talking about, you know, situation where everybody loses, you know, certain obsessions, I would say, certain kind of like unhealthy choices. You have 2 sixes as well, you have 2 tens, and then you also have a 9. So anyway, let's look what was in the past. It was like some kind of unhealthy basically situation. It could have involved a third person, but it was a situation where basically there was no winners, right? And this could be you. Queen of Pentacles absolutely talks about earth sign, or talks about being resourceful or landing on your feet and establishing your boundaries. So you have 2 fives, like you are coming from a period of instability where, you know, like, I mean, didn't know what's going to happen, but you did manage to sort of like pull yourself from everything and kind of like walk through your path. That doesn't mean that you didn't kind of like feel affected, like this Ten of Swords, right? Talks about to a point it was unfortunate and unpleasant kind of path, and in the end you kind of like almost surrendered to the circumstances. You see, King of Wands talks about it could be related to somebody, you know, who created it for you. King of Wands is like somebody who is very charismatic, and also it could mean that somebody is going to pull you out of the situation, and that somebody was going to be really kind of a great person, community organizer, and who has authority, who is a professional, and absolutely a passion, kind of like person that you literally can label as passion, you know, personified, and somebody who is kind of lucky altogether. And you see, you're going from this bad 10 to this 10, Wheel of Fortune, and here's like finally things are turning in your favor. The good news about this card is like the worst is over, and you kind of like did go through this past, and you know, there is a time for meeting somebody else. And I think this person is somebody new, or maybe you just met somebody, maybe you're just reconfiguring yourself. This also, Virgo, can talk about reigniting your own passions, kind of like finding who you are, right? Because you kind of like restabilize yourself from something, but here is like, okay, I need a church. Because here you also have wands, and these ones are talking about the seasoned warrior, right? They talk about somebody who looks maybe did get injured in a battle, right? But also, you know, talks about maybe being surprised by events, and also you're preparing yourself to meet the challenge. So that could be that reigniting your own things, even though there's like still lingering past that kind of is emotionally unfulfilling. And yet, which one was that? Oh my gosh, these two cards are coming out now in the third reading already. So somebody's coming out, or you're suffering from something, or there's like the sadness, because Five of Cups can mean a sadness over a lover, but this can actually mean kind of like feeling sorry about the situation you're in. Sometimes like, I mean, feeling kind of victimized, and sometimes we just do that to ourselves, where you know, reaction, it's just simply our reaction to loss and grief. And it's time, like it takes time, like I mean, there are like 5 stages, right? Obviously, I mean, the 3 stages are still here. It's still not time to turn around, but you are able to kind of like find some defensive kind of mechanism. But the good news is around the corner. When you manage to turn around, there is like a somebody offering you love, or you'll be healing so quickly that this can kind of like come your path, come your way. You see, there is somebody who basically is also in your mind that could have been a soulmate. And so I guess there is like this regret of like this person not being in your life. This can also mean just simply making a bad first impression, or that somebody made this kind of like impression on you, or bad taste in the mouth, as they call it, right? Yeah, that's probably more so, because it could have been the third person. Now this is the second time coming out here, and we'll see the Lovers can also mean a choice. Yeah, and hence it's just like you gave up on it, or somebody gave up on you. It just like looks like somebody's heart was broken, relationship ended, and somebody is still wanting to stay in there and fight for it, and the other person didn't. And I see here it was lots of passion everywhere. So there was a need for, or I mean, you did really well, Virgo, here, because you did establish who you are. I like to see that, because sometimes I see in some of these Taroscopes like people being just like stepped on by karma and allowing this to happen. But here I see lots of challenges coming your way, and you're resolving them, and this is really great, because hey, establishing your stuff and saying like, no, this is the line, please don't cross it, or else I'm walking away. You're actually doing this, like you're able to or willing to fight, but if you know, if things don't work out, you just kind of like walk away, and you understand this is probably the best for you in the long run. So there is like this Lovers card here in the what basically crowns you, and this is basically talking about denying your heart. Maybe you're like dealing with a situation, so you're just trying to numb yourself from what happened. Some of you may have resolved the difficulties that you had due to some bad choices, or and moving to this like unity. And this is like that talks about family, talks about you know, where we come from, talks about our parents, our ancestors, right? Like this is really a card where talks about a stable and abundant life. So oh my gosh, 9 and 10. So you kind of don't want to be single. So this kind of can mean to me, because you guys are an earth sign, and these are two earth cards. This can actually indicate to me that for those of you that are in relationship and that certain things happen, you're willing, some of you, to forget certain things and move on, because with this person, like, you still have some kind of feeling of stability, but on some level you think that maybe you're doing that choice for the wrong reasons, because kind of, again, denying yourself what you want but somehow settling for what is offered, and it is like due to you really not reaching the full, let's say, potential, because 9 of Pentacles is really accomplishment upright. But here it could also mean that somebody's thinking too highly of themselves, right? Or that you maybe it could be you that you think too highly of yourself, and hence you think you're going in this direction. But this is certainly indicating that some choice here that was made is questionable. So just think about who that is in your life, because there are like some really bad memories here, right? So now we had 5, now we have 6. So 6 of Cups is generally like the past card, where you kind of like look back to happy memories. Well, this is a card either of a breakup, either of bad memories, or sometimes romanticizing the past. You know how somebody, you're arguing with somebody every day, and then all of a sudden they're not in your life, all of a sudden just think of just good things, and that's normal. That's how memory works, right? And then you have 4 of Pentacles, and you have a Fool. Well, 4 of Pentacles reversed is really talking about squandering resources. And maybe you're aware of that, because this talks about starting fresh. Fool is a really good card for new beginnings. And it looks like, I mean, you had 9s over here, and 9 over here, and 10 over here, and 10 over here, 9 over here. So these 2 weeks, guys, for you will be ending of something and starting something new. And this is kind of like not still starting something new. This is kind of like that moment when you have an idea and you still don't know how to do it, but you are going there. And like lots of, right, so you have a 9, you have a 10 here, you have 9, you have 10, you have 10. So when that idea occurs to you, when you kind of like put things together, you will start feeling emotionally fulfilled. And this is kind of ultimate emotional gratification, and sometimes you get stuck in the situation, right? But it's certainly an indication of a happy home. And this is kind of the strength is losing control. And Queen of Wands. Could it be that you have a person who is influencing you, who is going to affect your stability? Because both Strength and Queen of Wands, it could be that there is, see, Queen of Wands and King of Wands here. We have them together, but not as a couple. This could be you that maybe you want something, but you don't know how to reach it. Maybe it's out of your reach. This also talks about lack of commitment and somebody really not seeing this eye to eye with you. Or this also can mean that one person is trying to convince the other person to proceed, and it takes enormous effort, and it feels like this talking into cannot really work out. There is like absolutely no fire in that. But it also could mean that you need to work on this happiness, which is there nonetheless. Your environment is basically suggesting here that you are really not like something is that you have lost, which kind of, you see, this kind of would talk about transformation, right? And in the grief, but here it's like talking about grieving, where the grieving period is like over, where, you know, you would be expected to kind of start recovering. But the reason why you're not recovering is like maybe because of things like this, that you kind of like keep rehashing those experiences, right? You keep going to the past, and instead of going forward, you literally, you know, you putting this, it's now on you, right? So if something's happens that is really not good and it's like hurtful, of course it's a bad situation. But if you keep thinking about it all the time, yeah, which you do, like this is Six of Swords, you keep coming back to it. Yeah, and somebody maybe was juggling somebody. This is also talking about embarrassment. Maybe your environment is embarrassing you, maybe somebody embarrassed you. It's certainly kind of looking that you kind of maybe don't want to share what you're doing with the other people, because maybe you are embarrassed about how things are doing, or maybe what you're involved with. It can be seen both ways. Fears and hopes are literally fears and hopes. So, you know, you have to get rid of your fears, because it's kind of like, look, oh my gosh, you're going from start to the world. So you will, like, the cycle has to come to an end, right? So this is like inception of the phase, and something has to end. So if you see it, right, you can see that kind of cards are proceeding further, right? So this is a dreaming about a new cycle. So there is this new cycle, and kind of like this kitty is going to have this like entire trip getting to this phase, right? Because the tarot is the story of the Fool. So this is kind of the end of the phase, and really, really energetically charging out of it. Just don't lose hope. Simply, this is talking about trusting yourself and go through it, right? Because you will be going back and forth between not trusting yourself and trusting yourself, because like the Nine of Swords is really talking about obsession and sleep deprivation. Again, you're going back to some old issues. There you go, being overly emotional and stuck and almost like paralyzed, and not really acting in your own best interests, right? But at the same time, you're kind of like mulling it over in your head, like what can have I done? Could I do anything better? Can I continue? It's, you know, looks like the environment, everybody's telling you you have to start moving on, and somehow you're feeling stuck. That happens when you are stuck karmically with someone. You have to cut the cord. It's, yeah, this kind of story, we have to kind of meet our soulmate. Guys, there are many soulmates, and if somebody released you, or you're releasing somebody else, the new one is coming on, because this life is about learning, and this karmic bond has to be released. So check my other channel, you have this cutting cords meditation. But also, you know, you have strength reverse, so your vibration level is very, very low. Raising vibration level helps immensely. You start normalizing your life, and when that happens, you kind of like are able to be who you are and kind of like live to the fullest, and then circumstances start to happen. Okay, I want to clarify a few things, because we have Fool and then we have the World. So this is kind of really going from 0 to 100 in 2 weeks. So just want to see the clarification of this Fool here for Virgos. Prison reverse. So some of you are married, some of you are getting out of bad marriage and renegotiating the deal. So this is again a situation with maybe long-term relationship, with in respect to coming back to the situation. Yeah, and you really want to know all the circumstances. So what is about this environment? What's going on here? Because this environment is telling, like in this embarrassment, it's kind of like really interesting. Kind of clarify this for me. It's going to be some kind of surprise journey and love. Yeah, I think you don't think that your friends, family, associates understand you, because you want what you want. You kind of like hoping that surprise will happen, things will kind of resurrect. It's going to be a new love journey, and this is like your opinion, while the others are basically thinking, yeah, this is kind of hopeless and that you're rehashing the old situation. So let's see what is this all about in this next group. What is this star and world, star reversed and world here? So we have hope and we have consolation, both really good cards. So this is the same card. We have star and hope. It's exactly the same. So this is a loss of hope. It's a fears and hopes, right? So now, like, this was a fear, this is a hope. It's coming back. It looks like it's completely grounding yourself. You finally are going to start to realize that this forward movement is good for you. Consolation is really positive card to have. It's like almost like having the outside choices. And let's see kind of like why you're going back to this inactivity, because it's going to go back and forth for you in this period. Okay, so conversation, this is why, because I think you want to find more information about something, and it's a lack of communication. You kind of like really feel, and this is you, Virgo, you kind of clamp up, you kind of like come to conclusions from inside, and this is what is happening there as well. Okay, and I also want to see this, why is here 10 of Swords? Is this going to go away anytime soon? Yeah, it is connected to somebody from the past. You have been hurt by somebody who has been not so kind to you, and somebody who was giving a false face. This could be that King of Wands over here, who kind of like was very seductive, but hasn't turned out to be who basically you thought it was. All right, so let me see the advice for you, Virgos, for these 2 weeks. Reconciliation, amazing. Well, this is what it is. Like, you didn't listen to the others. You're really fighting for this person. I just don't know if that's going to really serve you. Okay, let's see, clarify what's going to happen with this. Fortune reversed. Haughtiness, pride. Somebody can be very egoistic. And there is another person. Oh my gosh, like, I mean, this period is going to be really interesting. Lots of repetition among the signs. Be very careful what you wish for, Virgo, right? You might get what you want if you're trying to reunite, because there is the guy. All I'm saying is, like, it looks like he's still with somebody else, not necessarily in relationship, but there is a link that he has to someone else, and it is a very strong connection. So here, like, you have this need for bringing to the surface all these hidden things, because you're hoping for this love. Just make sure that you are walking into this with your eyes wide open. So Virgos, for your personal readings, please contact me at www.catchtarot.ca. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, share, and like, or even dislike. And all of that works. And also, I love to actually get your comments. That means a lot to me, and it kind of helps me also get new perspectives. Thank you so much, Virgo. Love you.